Hi guys, today we will continue with our discussion on photoelectric effect. Basically, we will concentrate on the experimental and theoretical verification of photoelectric effect. This effect was discussed by Albert Einstein. Okay, so here we have seen the experimental setup, just some modifications here. This is the cathode, anode, and this is the quartz window through which the light will be being incident on the cathode, and there is the voltage applied, and here it is the commutator they have used to see the observations, what is happening, if will change the polarity, what will change, if will change the direction, all those things. So here is a commutator over here, and here is the variable resistance to change the voltage. Okay, now through this what they did is they incidented lights of various frequency, various intensity. They changed the voltage to different values, and they studied what is happening. So what are the observations they found? Let me tell you first the observations, then slowly we'll go through the detailed description. Okay, so first what they've seen that electron emission increases with intensity of radiation. Here from this window the radiations are being incidented. So if the intensity they are increasing, they are getting more current over here. And as we know, the current is nothing but the rate of flow of electrons. So if current is increasing, that means the number of electrons being ejected from cathode are increasing. So electron emission increases with intensity of radiation. Second, that's what they see is the current decreases with decrease in voltage. When initially they changed the intensity, now they kept the intensity constant, they changed the voltage, and what they found is when changing the voltage, the current decreases with decreasing voltage. Okay. Then if somebody is decreasing the voltage, then they try to see when the current is becoming zero. Then what they found is the current is becoming zero at a reverse potential, and that potential they gave the name as stopping potential. Okay, so while changing the frequency, they could observe that there is a minimum value of frequency below which they could not get any current in the emitter, and if the frequency of the incident light is going above that minimum value, they are getting some photocurrent. Okay, so that minimum value for which there is flow of current is known as threshold frequency. Okay, now we have just written the observations what they have got from the experiment. Okay, now slowly we'll see one by one how these things are happening, what are the plots they plotted, from where they got these observations, and those things we'll be discussing one by one. Okay, so first we'll discuss the effect of intensity of incident radiation. Okay, so intensity of incident radiation, they changed the intensity of the incident radiation, keeping the potential difference, they kept it fixed at a particular applied potential. They changed the intensity. Okay, and the frequency is also kept constant. Now as they are changing the intensity for different values of intensity, they measured the photocurrent from the emitter connected to the circuit, and they plotted a graph taking intensity in the x-axis and photoelectric current in the y-axis. So what they found is that the photoelectric current is directly proportional to the intensity. If they are increasing the intensity, they are getting a higher current. Decreasing the intensity means they are getting a lower current. Okay, now the photoelectric current increases linearly because this is a straight line, you can see. So photoelectric current increases linearly with intensity of radiation, and the number of photoelectrons emitted per second is proportional to the intensity of incident radiation. As I have already told you, the current is nothing but the number of electrons flowing through the circuit. So if the current is increasing, means the number of emitted photoelectrons are increasing. So the number of photoelectrons emitted by the photosensitive material increases with increasing intensity. Okay. The second graph we will see is the effect of potential difference. As I have told you there is a rheostat attached to the circuit. So changing the value, they can change the potential difference. So here what they have taken is the intensity. First initially they kept the intensity to a particular value I1, and the frequency also they kept it constant. Now the only parameter they are changing is the potential difference. Okay. So while changing the potential difference, they are seeing or they are observing what are the changes in the photoelectric current. Okay. So this is the plot for I1. Initially they kept the value at I1. So at I1 intensity, changing the potentials, how the current is changing. Okay. Now initially we will see to the positive part. So if they are changing the positive part, the potential, this is increasing initially, then it becomes constant, that comes to a saturated value. So this is called saturated current. And then the thought that if we are taking in the positive direction, we are getting this curve, what will happen if I will reverse the potential of the applied potential? Then using the commutator, they change the potential, and what they seen while reversing the value of the applied potential at a certain value of reverse potential, the photoelectric current becomes 0. Okay. So initially the photoelectric current increases with increase in potential difference, that is for the positive potential. Now once the photoelectric current reaches a certain maximum value, it remains constant, that is known as saturation current. So this is the maximum current after which there is no increase in current, it will remain constant irrespective of the increase in the potential value. Okay. Now saturation current increases with increase in intensity. So what happened? Initially they have taken the intensity as I1. Okay. Now they repeated the experiment with different values of intensity. Now they changed some value I2, which is more than I1, and they took the values and plot the graphs, and what they observed is the positive side again, initially there is increase in current, and after that it is going to a saturation value, and at the reverse potential, at the same reverse potential, you can see here for I1 and I2, I3, whatever may be the things, that for a particular metal, the reverse potential at which the photoelectric current is becoming 0 is same for all intensity. Okay. So again they did it for I3 further, with here I3 is greater than I2 and I2 is greater than I1. So as the intensity is increasing, the saturation current value is increasing, but the stopping potential value remains constant for all the intensities. Okay. So to obtain that 0 current, the voltage has to be reversed to a certain V0 known as the stopping potential. Okay. Now come to the third effect, that is effect of frequency of incident radiation on stopping potential. Okay. Now they are changing the frequency and they are seeing what is happening to the stopping potential. The stopping potential till now what we have seen is it is not changing with intensity. So they change the frequency and try to see whether the stopping potential value is changing with respect to frequency. They kept the material of the plate, cathode plate, that is constant, and the intensity of the incident radiation are kept constant. Okay. So now changing the frequency, what they have seen is that as the intensity is constant, the saturation current is not going to change as per the previous observation. So here the intensity is constant, so saturation current is constant irrespective of the values of frequency. But looking at to the stopping potential value, we can see here the different frequencies are nu3, nu2 and nu1, where nu3 is greater than nu2 greater than nu1. So we are getting different stopping potential values for different frequencies, and as the frequency is increasing, the magnitude of the stopping potential, here I am telling magnitude because these are the reverse potentials, so it is having minus signs. So if we take the magnitude, we can compare that the magnitude of the stopping potential is greater for greater frequency. Okay. Taking the different values of frequency in the x-axis, they plotted the corresponding stopping potential in the y-axis. And here, where they are getting the stopping potential to be 0 at some particular value of frequency. And that particular value of frequency for which the stopping potential is 0 is known as the threshold frequency. And that depends on the material of the plate. Okay. Now, these are the observations, whatever they have obtained through experimental data sets. Now, whenever some experimental is being conducted, one should develop some equations to generate those things, because if something is happening, definitely there must be some theory behind that. So what is the theory? Why these things are happening? These are the experimental data, and it's okay, one are getting, but there should be some theory to explain these things. Okay, those theories are given by Albert Einstein, and the basis on which he developed the theories are nothing but the Planck's hypothesis. So based on Planck's hypothesis, Einstein in 1905 he developed some equations to explain these observations. Okay, so what we have seen in Planck's hypothesis is that light behaves like a set of particles. Okay, and these are made up of small packets called quanta or photons. Okay, and they are having discrete amount of energy. Okay, they are not radiating that continuous energy, and when photon falls on the surface of a metal, its entire energy is being transferred to the electron. So when that photon is coming and hitting the metal, then the total energy of the photon is being transferred to the electron. Okay, so if some energy is given to something, there should be energy is always conserved, so it should be utilized in some way. So this energy given to the electron by the photon is utilized in two ways. Okay, the first one is because that electron was revolving around the nucleus. It is bound to the nucleus by the binding energy. So if one wants to remove that, some energy should be applied to overcome that binding energy. So the part of the energy offered by the photon is used by the electron to overcome the potential barrier, and the rest of the energy given by the photon, because it is moving. Okay, so it is gaining some, it is having some kinetic energy, right? So that kinetic energy is coming from the rest of the energy offered by the photon. Okay, so these are the two ways in which the energy of the photon is being distributed. Okay, so taking these things into account, he developed the equation to explain the observations obtained by experiments. Okay, so the energy of photon is equals to energy required to remove an electron plus the maximum kinetic energy of the electron. Okay, and as we all know that maximum the energy required to remove an electron is nothing but the work function, that is W0, and the maximum kinetic energy, if it is moving with a velocity v maximum, then we can write it as mv max square. Okay, m is the mass of the electron, v maximum is the maximum velocity. So this is the kinetic energy. W0 is nothing but the work function of the material. Okay, and h nu, this is the energy of the photon, and what we have seen is that energy of the photons are in terms of packets, so it is written as h nu. Okay, so this equation is known as Einstein's photoelectric equation. Now we'll see how this equation is explaining the observations. Okay. Now this is the equation given by Einstein. Just reshuffling this, I am writing this as half V max square is equals to h nu minus W 0. Electrons are moving in an electric field of potential V. So this kinetic energy should be equals to the electrical energy. So this is just replaced by EV is equals to h nu minus omega naught. So V is equals to taking this E to the right hand side, h nu by E minus omega naught by E. Okay. So here if you see this h is the Planck's constant and this E is the charge of the electron. Okay. So taking this equation, if we are plotting a graph between the frequency and this potential, okay, so y is equals to mx plus c, because work function is constant for a metal and E is the energy, so this is a constant quantity. H by E is also a constant, so this can be written in the form y is equals to mx plus c. So taking this x or nu in the x-axis, this b in the y-axis, if we plot a graph, the slope should be equals to h by E. Y is equals to mx, so h by E is the slope, and this is the y-intercept minus w by E. Okay, so this is the graph they are getting over from these things, and these dots are nothing but the experimental results. So the equation what is proposed by Einstein, that could these dotted lines are this one from the graph and these are the experimental results. There is a quite good agreement between these two. So this equation could explain the photoelectric effect correctly. Okay. So the experimental verifications of Einstein's equation. So what they have done again in 1916, Millikan he did some experiments to verify this Einstein's photoelectric equation. This graph what I have shown you earlier, these are the experimental results, and this is the graph obtained by using, because one can calculate these values h by E and w by E, just putting there we can obtain the straight line here. And these are the experimental results which are just clustered about around the graph. Okay, so the slope of the graph is h by E, and same for all metals. You can see h is independent of whatever material you are taking. H is Planck's constant, it is not going to change. E is the mass, charge of the electron, so it is also not going to change. So h by E is same for all the metals. Okay, so what is changing then? Here you can see this is for metal A, this is for metal B. For both the things the slope is same h by E, but this value is changing, and this w by E will also change. If you will extend these things, it will cross over here, it will cross in the somewhere down, because w is the work function of the metal. So w changes if we are changing the metal. This y-intercept will change, and this frequency, this is the threshold frequency, this value will also change, because that is w by h. So this value and this value will change, that is the stopping potential value and the threshold frequency value. So those depends on the metal, but the slope doesn't depends on the type of metal considered. Okay, so this is how the Einstein equation is verified experimentally by Millikan. So we'll just conclude this photoelectric emissions, the laws. Okay, so what are the things concluded that below the threshold frequency, the emission of photoelectrons stops, because we have seen that below that current will be zero. So below the threshold frequency, the emission of photoelectrons stops completely, irrespective of the intensity. Though we are changing the intensity, the threshold frequency, as we have seen, that is W by H, that depends on the work function of the material, that doesn't depend on the intensity. So it remains constant irrespective of the intensity. Okay, so above the threshold frequency, the photoelectric current is directly proportional to the intensity of the incident radiation. After that, what we have seen, that graph, you could remember, the photoelectric current is directly proportional to the intensity. Okay, the photoelectric emission is an instantaneous process, that is, there is no time lag between the incidence of radiation and the emission of photoelectrons. So as soon as that photon is being incident on the metal, immediately the electron will come out. So that is, there is no time lag in between those things. The maximum kinetic energy of photoelectrons is directly proportional to the frequency of incident radiation, but is independent of intensity, that we have seen already. So these are the conclusions of the photoelectric equations, or the photoelectric effect, emission, whatever you can tell. With this is one experiment from where again the particular nature of the light is confirmed. Okay, because taking that nature only, we could explain this photoelectric effect. Now in the next class, we'll be seeing some more interesting experiments again, to which can establish the nature of light, whether it is moving as a particle or wave, what are the nature of this light energy. Those will be more clear. So we'll be discussing those things in the next class. Today we'll stop here. Thank you all. Enjoy your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel. We'll be getting more interesting things over here. Thank you all once again.